Hello everybody, I'm Uncle Benny, and this is not a Let's Play. I received a message today, actually, asking about the things I do to when I build, that it would be more interesting to see how something comes together, and I figured it would be kind of nice to show something that I actually have already done. I upgraded my warp-capable SV to the Mark II, but I think I will actually redo this. Let's put it down on the ground to sort of give you an idea of how the thought process works. Because I actually also noticed that with the actual Mark II that I made, I didn't really upgrade it all that much, which we're gonna do now. So first things first, in order to get a to get this process going. The major issue with this vessel so far has been that it's made out of regular good old steel blocks. It's not very what shall I say? It's not very suited to taking damage, and because it's a very, and I do mean very, compact build, which I will show you in a minute, if you take a good hit, you're basically screwed, because everything's packed so densely together that one thing exploding pretty much sets off this chain reaction where, well, everything explodes. And that's literally how you can I don't want an A on there, I just want textures. No textures, alright. So I'm in creative as well. And not just creative, I'm actually flying around in God mode because it lets you clip through pretty much everything, which is highly convenient if you're actually mucking about with vessels that have already have stuff in them. Yeah, I am applying it to the whole block. Good. Let me finish this real quick, and then we can proceed with operation. I will show you what I mean with the God mode thing as well. I have everything. I think I pretty much got everything detextured. Well, mostly. The reason I'm doing this is because this is actually the texture for combat steel, and if you're trying to upgrade things to, let's say, hardened steel. See, this is where the God mode bit comes in. I need to actually see if... Alright, that took... Those are thrusters. Those are all thrusters. You could argue you could do this in orbit. Yes, I could. But I'm showing it to you how you could theoretically do this. If you're in survival, for example, what you do is you just hover your ship and you can work underneath it. Or you make a little... let's take some truss blocks. Let's see. This thing's has some really, really weird... whoa. Yeah, I was kind of trying to avoid that because that must have damaged the ship. No, I just need to fiddle. Like in survival, I could probably... Why is it doing this? The joys of things not working out right. Anyway, let's not deal with this right now. We'll just land it and leave it. Anyway, you build a support structure out of truss blocks and just park it on top. Now, the reason I said God mode is good... Oh, okay, well, I was going to say you can literally float around the inside of this vessel. You can clip through things and basically see what's what. Now, the thing is that I need to move a lot of things and alter a lot of things on this to get to the actual Mark II. So the idea is I can't change the chassis too much, but I want 2 rocket launchers. I want the Gatling guns, obviously, and I still want to be able to have 2 spotlights. So one place where these spotlights can go is over here. But then they're covered, which means that I want to ditch that. Let's get some steel blocks. Let's see, I'll grab the thinny, rotate it, and that looks like absolute pants. This is often how my redesigns end up working. Is I try something and it just won't look good. So my main problem with that is that the light is now not covered by anything. And lights are 25 hit points. I mean, somebody could sneeze at this and kill it. Anyway. So we have to literally now strip the insides of this vessel pretty bare. The idea was, like, there's a few blocks here that aren't really required. They're there to fill up empty space. I think I can walk around in here. Can I not? No. It's not high enough. Right, okay, that one was actually important. So we have thrusters, 3 pieces in the floor. We have some more thrusters. They're small ones. Though I'm not sure. Yeah, are they? They are. And we have small thrusters in the rear. So I'm basically I'm literally sort of stripping the ship because I want a little bit more bang for the buck, as it were. And you can't get that with small thrusters, you can only get it with medium ones. Unfortunately, of course, medium ones are bigger. Which means that I can't really do that on this vessel. I just noticed. I have done it with another one that does actually hold that much thrust, or at least it doesn't hold that much thrust. It's basically it's just a bigger version of this one, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I think I will actually just line these up, thereby giving me a little bit of extra free space back here to do things with. Alright, so did we replace all the thrusters? Not yet. There. Now all the thrusters have been replaced. So the idea is the Gatling guns and rocket turrets are all quite long, which means that I had to get rid of my short-range warp tank, which I have to put somewhere else. Actually, this seems much better for it. And coincidentally, we also have an issue with the core. The core is in a spot where I don't really want it to be, but there's not many other places where I can put it without sort of compromising the ship's integrity, as it were. So we're going to have to find a spot to put it. Now this space here is basically reserved for the warp drive. It's a humongous thing, actually. So I'm trying to figure out, can I use that? No. What I did notice is that this could do with a extra layer of that to sort of make the flow a little nicer, because otherwise it comes out so flat. So let me place the core. See, this is where my lack of talent in ship design really shows, because I honestly wouldn't know where else to put it except, well, either here. Let's do that. Let's actually dump some of these RCSs out. We put the core right there. On account of if it gets to this point, then we're pretty much screwed anyway. The good thing is I do have the extra room back here to put some of these RCSs back. And I have a free spot. Is there actually anything I took out? Nope. So I have room for perhaps an extra RCS or an O2 tank or an ammo box. I also have 2 spaces right here that I can use for Lord knows what. guess RCSs are usually a good bet to add them because it's good for movement. You could also pack thrusters in here to get extra thrust without them being visible, but I'm a big fan of keeping things at least kind of realistic. I mean, you know, yes, we're playing a computer game. Anyway, maybe I will actually make a change here and let's see, how much fuel do we have? We have a capacity of 1200 in 2 tanks. Oxygen, 6 oxygen tanks, which should, in theory, we got 2400 in 6 tanks. I'm thinking, let me also fix this. We want bright light and we want time to be not moving. I think we have enough oxygen tanks, which means that I can do an RCS. And fuel tank. There. And we still have one spot open here, which we could also utilize for another fuel tank. You know, go big or go home. This actually reminds me that this ship does need... What does it need? Let me see, we have a cargo box and an O2 station back here. I could have added another cargo box instead of a fuel tank. Maybe I'll do that. Because I don't think I've ever really ran this thing low on fuel, but it's nice if you're going somewhere. Now, yes, you could argue that you can only reach this cargo box through this menu, through devices, cargo box. You can't reach it externally, which I know. Some people really hate it when it's done that way. I'm sort of on the fence. It's like it's a little cheesy, but at the same time, you know, it kind of is what it is. So we put back 2 of our Gatling guns, and we start off with regular rocket launchers, because the homing ones require endgame materials. So let's see, do I have any room left? Nope, it's all packed solid. So we have that, we have our bottom light. I think that actually needs altered. Turn my lights on here. I do actually want to change this. Is there anything that can go in here? No. Maybe like this. They're mostly exposed. Yeah, that works. Let's see about this. Semi-questionable. In would, in all honesty, be better if we put the Gatling gun up here, but I don't think I have room for that. Let me actually see, because nope, we do not have room for that. So let's put the spotlight cubes back in, because hey, why not? So we have that. One of the other things I was going to do, I was going to get rid of that, because now I do actually need to have it up in the air, because these landing feet are too close together. I found out that this ship will literally fall over the minute you sort of look at it funny. So we're doing it a little bit wider. And I know I'm covering up the thrusters, but well, you know, reasons. Which means that these thrusters are now very much unprotected, which I'm not sure is a bad thing. The problem is I can't put a block underneath here because it will interfere with the docking pad. Because even a thin one like this, if I'm not mistaken, now it will be unable to. Yes. Exactly. It still treats it as at least half a block high, so you can't dock it like that. I could always see if I could. You know what? Let's do it differently. So that's sort of fixed to the point I like it. Alright, let's see. How does that look? That actually looks better, if you ask me. Which means that we now need to find a new spot for our spotlight cubes, because I do kind of like having lights on here. So the only spot that I can think of that would work is here, if we slant them. There we go. And then, just to be sort of semi-complete, we do actually slap this in here. There. The good thing is, one of the issues that the original design I did had is that the upwards thrust isn't that great. So we'll just add some of this right here. Or maybe not. I don't actually know if that was this one or not. When in doubt, check the statistics. We have 320 kilonewtons. Down 480, up 240 kilonewtons both ways, 480 kilonewtons. There's like as much thrust forward as there is down. But oh well, we'll mess with this in a little bit. I don't know if I need more down thrust, to be honest, so I'm just going to fill it in with blocks. And now we shall decorate. I like these things having a slightly different look, because that can go there, go there, and this will be the bottom bit. On both that side, that side, that side, that side, and we put a small half wall in the middle. So that flows nicely. This obviously needs this needs something a little different. Would actually sort of say it needs that. Yeah, okay, I like this. I like this a lot. Alright, let's test it on the original. Oh, wait. There. Just for shits and giggles, right? This is I'd better get some promethium packs as well to fuel up with. Fill all. How much did that take? About 50 promethium, so that's good. 145.4 minutes of full power. So we have many missiles. Now let me show you what I mean. Like if somebody with 4 rocket launchers comes up and does that, you can do that to buildings as well. I think actually turrets will take 2 salvos. 1, 2, boom, no more turret. Right, test successful. So yeah, let me show you. This is what happens when you get a hit right in the middle. It sort of takes out your warp drive and pretty much everything else in a pretty large area around it. I mean, there's usable pieces left after the fact, but well, as you can tell, it's pretty much the entire inside of the vessel has now officially exploded. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch the multi-tool to grade. I'm going to hang this in the air. What do we need for that? Hardened steel plate. Let's just grab a bunch, right? And then we do this, and this is why I remove the textures, because it lets you see which blocks have been upgraded and which ones haven't. So the difference is between normal steel blocks, they're 50 hit points, hardened steel blocks are 100. Now it's not what you would call a massive increase. I mean, it doubles the hit points of your vessel, like more or less. I mean, it's it's a little subjective. Also, I'm unsure if this was the case in Alpha 6, but you can't actually have combat steel on small vessels. Now, like I said, I don't recall if that was the case before 6.7 or 7.0 came around. But I think it's a pretty good deal, because there were some people that I know who play PvP servers where you basically get these monstrosities of so-called small vessels that are, well, they're so full of or they were so full of combat steel that it becomes impossible to fight against those things in any sort of meaningful fashion. But don't hold me to that, because I can't actually remember if that was changed any times before, or whether they were just talking out of their asses about it. Or whether I'm talking out of my ass about it. I mean, it's all possible, of course. Half the time I don't even know what I'm talking about. Alright. So this is kind of usually the boring part of doing a build, is not the actual build process. It's the what comes after. It's things like this where you spend basically a buttload of time making sure you've got all your ducks in a row and all your blocks upgraded. I know I'm still missing a couple, like back here, for example. But I think I've got the bottom pretty much nailed, so now we get to do the sides, the top. And we need to, of course, rebuild that, so I might as well go straight to the hardened steel blocks. Let's see, we have... Oh yeah, wait, it would probably be a better idea if I actually put the warp drive back in. There we go, short range warp drive. Placed. And we need 3 of those, and then we have one of these. Wasn't sure what this one was, just a flat half block. Excellent. Hole filled. Do you have anything left to upgrade? Yes. Yes, no, maybe. I guess we'll just upgrade the rear wing to combat steel as well. I mean, why not? I mean, for working on it anyway. Might as well, right? Might as well. Right, I I think that's it. That sure looks to be it. Alright, unpainted. So I'm going to go and get rid of all this and just use the texture and paint tool. Texture-wise, I do not want to apply the whole block. Let's put those details back. There. So that's done. Now I was actually going to do a few more upgrades here now that I'm at it. We want vertical, transparent. Just to sort of protect the vessel from drones sort of shooting out some of your thrusters. I can't cover all of them, but this actually seemed to be the best course of action. Anyway, textures. So I know that this one had, was it this with that really dark purple? It was. I did keep the paint scheme from the original that I based this design on. It's a ship by Nickodemos called the Velites. It's also currently known as the prefab tier 1A in-game, and yeah, it's pretty neat. I think I am actually going to keep the I'm going to keep the hardened steel look for this because, well, actually I kind of like it. I like it better than the combat steel look, to be honest. Makes it look a little bit more plated, as it were. We had symbols. I'm changing the symbol. There. So, textures. We go back to texturing a little bit. Just want these, because these are luminescent textures. So the nice thing is that you can do this, and they will light up in the dark, of course, when nobody's watching. Other than that, this ship really didn't have much in the way of additional texturing. It had these two over there, and it had that over here, which makes sense, although I probably want to do it on these sides so it looks like a sort of an air scoop. Not necessarily an air scoop, but hey. Then we start very carefully coloring up all the things that have been changed. And yes, I do happen to like white. Okay, that's got added, so we'll grab this. We'll grab actually those I'm doing wrong because they're part of the like that band that goes across it. Alrighty then. I have to admit, sometimes it is hard to see exactly what you're doing. Nope, that was wrong. Okay, so I have these things in. Oh, wait, I think this can be upgraded. Or not. I guess not. So that's all been recolored, I think. Do want to recolor that. Did I get it all? Did I get it all? Why, yes, I think I did. Let's see if it's it can actually keep itself steady. Barely. Well, let's test it on that thing. I mean, 2 Gatling guns is still more than enough to deal with any sort of drone. Alright, so this is basically the ship we just made. My original Mark II, which I shall spawn for you right now, which I already did. Actually, it looks pretty much the same, except the Gatling guns are in the bottom. And the lights are where the Gatling guns are behind glass. Major difference is this one does not have a constructor anymore because I needed room for said extra cargo box. And Yeah, the core is in a different location as well. Though this one apparently comes pre-damaged when you spawn it, which is kind of odd, considering it is actually marked as being repaired. But yeah, as you can see, exactly the same idea. Few different changes, but on the whole, pretty much the same ship. The reason I changed it to this is because I kind of felt like that would be the slightly more doable option, as opposed to not doing it at all. Yeah, like I can't actually protect that at all. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I'm going to overwrite this with this. So we do this. So we do the Mark II. Overwrite. So now if I spawn it, yep, it's the same ship. There we go. So yeah, this one is basically still warp capable, except this one's got the firepower to take out POI cannons and stuff like that. An extra cargo box to take extra supplies. Less oxygen overall, but on the other hand, it should suffice for most things. Anyway, there we go. That is kind of how I do ship upgrades and ship alterations on things that are already built. If you want to see me do from scratch builds, let me know. I might do a separate Let's Build series. But we'll see if I have time. So there you are. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my regular Let's Play series.